Southgate's future as the head coach of England has been a hot topic of debate. With his contract expiring at the end of 2024 and his hint that he might leave if England fails to win the European Championship this year, the clock is ticking. But who really is Gareth Southgate? Is he the saviour of English football, or is he out of his depth? He's been leading the England national team since 2016. Remember the UEFA Euro 1996? Southgate played every game, but his missed penalty in the semi-final against Germany still haunts many fans. Fast forward to UEFA Euro 2020, and Southgate made history by taking England to their first European Championship final and their first major tournament final since 1966. But heartbreak struck again as England fell to Italy in a nail-biting penalty shootout. Despite these highlights, there are serious concerns. His match against Iceland ended in a shocking loss on June the 7th. So, here's the burning question. Is Southgate truly the man to guide England's golden generation to glory? Before we get into whether Southgate is the right fit for England, let's uncover who he really is and how he got here. Born on September 3rd, 1970, in Watford, Hertfordshire, Southgate's football journey began with dreams of playing for Manchester United and idolising Brian Robson. His professional career kicked off at Crystal Palace, where he quickly became a captain and led the team to a First Division title. Southgate then moved to Aston Villa, where he transitioned from midfield to a commanding centre-back, lifting the League Cup and playing a crucial role in their defence. His next chapter was at Middlesbrough, where he captained the team to their first major trophy in 2004, the League Cup. Internationally, Southgate's defining moment came at the UEFA Euro 1996. He played every game, but his missed penalty in the semi-final against Germany is still etched in the memories of England fans. Despite this, he earned 57 caps and represented England in major tournaments including the 1998 World Cup and Euro 2000. But what about his managerial career? It was at Middlesbrough where Southgate's managerial career began, and the journey was anything but smooth. Taking the helm in 2006 after Steve McClaren left to manage England, Southgate faced immediate challenges. Without the required coaching qualifications, he received special dispensation to manage in the Premier League. His first season saw a mix of highs and lows. Despite a promising start with the victory over reigning champions Chelsea, inconsistency plagued the team. They finished 12th in the league, an acceptable position but far from spectacular. The FA Cup run ended in the 6th round, and an early exit from the League Cup added to the disappointments. In his second season, Southgate made significant signings, including breaking the club's transfer record for Afonso Alves. Despite a rocky start, they pulled clear of the relegation zone, finishing 13th. A memorable 8-1 victory against Manchester City was a highlight, showcasing the potential of Southgate's side. However, the 2008-09 season brought new challenges. Key players left, and despite an optimistic start, Middlesbrough soon found themselves in a relegation battle. A 14-game winless streak left fans and critics questioning Southgate's tactics and decisions. Despite a brief resurgence, they were relegated on the final day of the season. Determined to bring Middlesbrough back to the Premier League, Southgate began the next season strongly. But just as things seemed to be turning around, he was dismissed in October 2009, with the team just 1 point off the top. After leaving his managerial role at Middlesbrough, he found himself without a coaching position. So how did he go from being jobless to leading the national team? Gareth Southgate's journey with England began with the under-21s in 2013. After 4 years out of football, he returned to management, replacing Stuart Pearce. His early tenure saw the Young Lions qualify for the 2015 European Championship, but they crashed out in the group stage. Critics pointed to Southgate's inexperience and questionable tactical choices as key reasons for their poor performance. In September 2016, Southgate was thrust into the senior team role following Sam Allardyce's sudden resignation. Tasked with steering England through the World Cup qualifiers, he quickly made his mark. But how did he handle the pressure of leading one of the world's most scrutinised teams? Southgate's first major test came at the 2018 FIFA World Cup. England qualified comfortably, and despite low expectations, Southgate inspired a new sense of belief. They won their first ever World Cup penalty shootout against Colombia and reached the semi-finals for the first time since 1990. However, their journey ended with a heart-wrenching defeat to Croatia. The loss exposed defensive fatalities and a lack of depth in the squad. Many questioned Southgate's tactical acumen, especially his inability to adapt when faced with Croatia's strategic adjustments. Then came the UEFA Nations League in 2019. England topped a tough group, including Spain and Croatia, and finished third overall. While they showed progress, their semi-final loss to the Netherlands highlighted significant issues. Defensive mistakes and poor game management under pressure were glaring, with many pundits criticising Southgate's failure to instill a more resilient mindset in crucial moments. But the real test of Southgate's tenure came at UEFA Euro 2020. England's campaign began with high hopes and historic moments, like defeating Germany in the knockout stages. The nation was electrified, believing that football was finally coming home. They reached the final, their first in a major tournament since 1996. Wembley Stadium was buzzing, the dream was within reach, but in a dramatic twist, after an early goal by Luke Shaw, Italy equalised. The match went to a nerve-shredding penalty shootout, where dreams turned into a nightmare. Southgate's tactical rigidity and conservative substitutions were heavily criticised. Fans and pundits questioned his decision-making as England's hopes were dashed in a heartbreaking loss. In the build-up to the 2022 World Cup, England experienced a mixed UEFA Nations League campaign, culminating in relegation to League B after a series of poor results. Critics pointed to a lack of tactical flexibility and an over-reliance on certain players. Southgate's inability to adapt and make bold decisions in real time was a recurring theme in the criticism he faced. At the 2022 World Cup, England showed promise, winning their group and advancing to the quarter-finals. However, they were knocked out by France, with Southgate's conservative approach and late substitutions coming under fire once again. Critics argued that his hesitation to change tactics during the game and his defensive mindset ultimately cost England a chance to progress further. Despite these setbacks, Southgate secured England's qualification for the UEFA Euro 2024, finishing top of their group and remaining unbeaten throughout the calendar year. Fast forward to now, with Euro 2024 looming, and questions about Southgate's future have resurfaced. The recent loss to Iceland has reignited doubts, with many pundits arguing that players like Jack Grealish and Marcus Rashford deserve spots in the squad. Meanwhile, the injury to key defender Harry Maguire has left a significant void, highlighting Southgate's reliance on certain players. Tactical challenges and criticisms have been at the forefront of Southgate's tenure. When England presses high, there's often a significant gap between the midfield and defence. This makes it easy for opponents to exploit and play through them. The issue arises because they're pressing aggressively without pushing the defence up to match the midfield's position, creating a dangerous void. England's defence tends to sit too deep out of fear of opponents getting behind them, creating space in the midfield for the opposition to exploit. This leads to disjointed play and leaves them vulnerable. Adjustments like pushing the defence higher up have exposed England to quick counter-attacks. This makes them vulnerable to fast breaks and concede goals against better teams. The inconsistency in England's high press further compounds these problems. Players like Phil Foden and Cole Palmer often find themselves too far from their opponents, allowing them to turn and play forward passes easily. This ineffective press allows opponents to bypass England's midfield and create scoring opportunities. After losing possession, England's counter-pressing isn't aggressive enough. Players fail to hold up the ball carrier or cut off passing lanes effectively, allowing opponents to launch attacks. Individual mistakes also play a role. Some players, like Kobbie Mainoo, lack the skills to pressure the ball effectively, leading to breakdowns in the defensive setup. These individual errors contribute significantly to England's defensive woes. The lack of synergy among the starting 11 leads to disjointed performances. This team has less experience playing together compared to past successful England squads, affecting their cohesiveness and effectiveness on the field. Despite these criticisms, there are potential improvements on the horizon. The return of key players like Jordan Pickford, Bukayo Saka and Jude Bellingham could enhance the team performance and defensive stability. Introducing players who excel in pressing, like Conor Gallagher, could improve the high press and overall defensive efforts. However, despite the mounting criticisms, the FA remains committed to Southgate. According to the Mirror, there are no plans to part ways with their head coach. The FA wants the 53-year-old to lead the Three Lions to the 2026 World Cup in North America, even if England crashes out of the Euro 2024 group stages. Euro 2024 feels like a now or never moment for Southgate's England. The stakes are higher than ever, and the pressure is mounting. Can Southgate overcome these tactical challenges and lead England to triumph? Or will the same issues continue to haunt his tenure? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more insights into the fascinating world of football.